The history of the United States in 10 minutes.
From the perspective of African Americans.
From 1609 to 1783, primarily the American Revolution. In the colonies, African Americans were brought over to be slaves on cotton and tobacco plantations. Then, when the colonies wanted to fight for independence in the Revolutionary War, they would not offer slaves their freedom for exchange for fighting. However, the British did. They were like, yo, slaves, come fight for me and you can be free.
But they didn't actually.
And so the slaves said, okay, except the British did not win, and the American colonies, now the United States of America,
Woohoo!
kept slavery. Here is an example of live footage displaying the British trying to convince slaves to come over and fight for them while the United States wins the war.
Ha ha ha! So, you can't join our army. Move it back over there.
Hey, African American slave, come fight for this British and you will gain your freedom when we win.
Idea.
Woo!
Bad idea.
Yeah! Let's go!
Oh.
Die, British. Move it back.
As the United States expanded westward after the Louisiana Purchase, the question arose of whether slavery should be allowed in the new territories and states that came out from the Louisiana Purchase, like Kansas, Nebraska, California, and Missouri. However, because there was such a raging debate about slavery, the Missouri Compromise came about, and with that, they admitted Maine as a free state, Missouri as a slave state, and all slavery was banned above the 36th 30th parallel. The Kansas-Nebraska Act then came around, which brought about the idea of popular sovereignty and new territories and states choosing whether they wanted to be a slave state or a free state.
Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. I just made the Louisiana. All this new land, everybody should move west. But should we have slavery?
I'm gonna go claim some new land for me and my slaves. By the way, slavery's awesome. Woohoo!
Yeah, it is.
I believe that all of the new lands in the West should be slavery-free because slavery is immoral and should be banned in the U.S.
I'm John Brown, and I don't want slavery to get to Kansas because of popular sovereignty. Yeah, and you are free because this is a slave-free state. Woo!
I thought you...
American Civil War, 1861 to 1865.
During the war, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all the slaves and encouraged them to fight for the Union.
We are the Confederacy in the South, and we want to secede from the United States.
No! I am the president and I will preserve the Union at all costs! Ah! Ah!
Oh no. Ah.
7 years ago!
Reconstruction and Jim Crow laws from 1865 to 1896.
Following the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, and President Andrew Johnson took his place. No one knows what Reconstruction would have looked like had President Lincoln been allowed to continue, but with Andrew Johnson in control, Reconstruction slowly but surely ended. In the South, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which guaranteed slaves freedom, voting rights, and property. The amendments were quickly forgotten as Jim Crow laws were quickly established and the North did nothing to stop them. Segregation quickly appeared in the South and spread throughout the country. Many African Americans who had been slaves prior to the Civil War took up jobs as sharecroppers in a system that was disadvantaged to them and made it so they could not grow or progress any further as white sharecropper farm owners suppressed them.
I'm black, and because of all these fancy new amendments I got after the Civil War and Reconstruction, I can now vote. I'm gonna go vote.
Can you read this?
I don't know, but...
Do you have $1,000? No. Get out of here.
The world is ready to have a war.
In the World Wars, black soldiers were allowed to serve in the army. However, they were segregated from white units despite having the same combat efficiency. Double V-Day, victory abroad and at home against fascism and oppression.
Let's fight together!
Desegregation of the armed forces. Harlem Renaissance was more or less a cultural explosion of black culture and a reawakening of their grassroots activism. It also led to the rise of jazz and more popular art forms that were found popular in white society.
Civil rights movement. Civil rights movement was picking up momentum, being led by leaders like MLK and Malcolm X. It eventually led to the Civil Rights Act, which prevented discrimination based on race, religion, or gender.
I am Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and I had a dream that my children could go to the same school as white kids and could vote and do stuff with civil rights. Obama's presidency, present.
During this time period, 9/11 occurred and the world was in war again, this time against terrorism. Now we have a new president, the first black president ever, Barack Obama, and the Black Lives Matter movement, which is advocating for equality between all people.
It's the first black president ever, Barack Obama!
And I'm gonna bring to you people, the people of the United States of America, free healthcare and protection of the environment.
Woohoo!
I am a member of Black Lives Matters because I want to bring equality for all of the oppressed.
Go!
1, 2, drop.
The American Civil War. What year is it? 1861.
Bro!
1861.
The Civil War, oh my god.
See. The sun.
As I'm recording, man.
How are you going?
Why?
The American Revolution from 1609 to 1783.
The Civil Rights.
I'm fighting for black power.
Are you filming right now?
During the war, President Lincoln,
The Civil Rights.
Americans were brought over to be slaves on cotton and tobacco plantations. Then, when the Revolutionary War came over, the American colonies would not give slaves.